one standout, and this is going to be very surprising, I'm going to say this, but one standout of this past weekend's series against the Cubs, none other than Brett Baty. Now, I know I've been very critical of Brett Baty. If you go on the channel previously, there's a video about Brett Baty where I said that this time his stint with the Mets in the major leagues must be the last chance he gets. I think Brett Baty may have heard me. As you can see on the lower third below me, Brett Baty had a very positive series against the Chicago Cubs team. Of course, the Cubs came into that series in first place in the NL Central, so no small feat to beat up on them at all. Baty had a 500 average. He hit 3 home runs and had 6 RBIs against the Cubs this weekend. Now, the question is, did Brett Baty show us enough in that series to make me and the rest of the Brett Baty critics out there change our minds? The answer, unfortunately, is no. Now, I understand he had 1 home run on Friday. He was the catalyst of the offense on Saturday with the 2 home runs. But I'm still not convinced. I think it's a fluke. I think this whole series that he had against the Cubs, he just happened to catch fire at the right time. Baseball is about who's hot and who's not. And even a poor performing player can get hot every now and then. Brett Baty, he just happened to get lucky. That's all I'm going to chalk it up to. Um, that's all I'm going to chalk it up to. Brett Baty just happened to be the recipient of some good luck this weekend. As we saw, Brett Baty played in the Pirates game yesterday in the first game of that series and went back to his normal self. Didn't do a thing. Um, Now, granted, I know what people are going to say. Well, the Mets played another first place team, and they played against a team with a good starting rotation and an okay bullpen. How could you not be impressed? I'm thankful that Brett Baty was the catalyst of the offense, helped propel us to win the series. Granted, he didn't play in the series finale on Sunday, outside of an inning of defense, but again, I'm not impressed with this whole this whole Brett Baty situation. Since 2022, Brett Baty has had chance after chance after chance, and even with chance after chance after chance, still for whatever reason just can't get it together. Now, like I said, I give him credit. He had the home run on Friday. He had an infield single as well on Friday, but I just am not impressed with with Brett Baty overall, because in the at bats where he didn't, now he went 4 for 8 this weekend. And the other 4 at bats where he didn't produce a hit, he looked like the same old Brett Baty. Uninspired, flat at bats, poor body language, falling behind in the count early. And when you do those things, you're not going to succeed at the big league level. And once again, Brett Baty did not show me anything to be impressed with outside of those 4 good at bats that he had against the Cubs. I think it's a fluke. Now, I could be wrong. If he could replicate this and keep this hitting momentum up, I will gladly come on here and say I was wrong and tip my hat to Brett Baty and say that, I was wrong. I take the L on this. But I don't think we're going to see much more out of Brett Baty. Brett Baty is on borrowed time because Jesse Winker comes back in about 6 weeks. Now, granted, the Mets do have options. They could always send Jose Azocar back down to Syracuse instead of Brett Baty, but that remains to be seen. It just depends on if Baty can continue to hit, which, judging from recent history, I don't think that'll be the case. Of course, Winker is an outfielder. Azocar is an outfielder. Azocar should stay, in my opinion. Azocar will also give you plus speed and better defense than Baty will in the infield, but that remains to be seen. But nonetheless, Brett Baty, 4 for 8, 500 average, 2 home runs and 6 RBIs against the Cubs. He will play tonight. He is in the starting lineup tonight against the Pirates. That series is going to continue a little bit later on. Again, yesterday, first game of the series, He didn't do much, but I don't expect much out of Brett going forward. I hate being a pessimist, but when you've given somebody a million chances and they only succeed once in a blue, I mean, what? After a while, you get used to the same thing over and over and over. So that's my take on Brett Baty. I am not convinced if he can do this, if he could keep this up the rest of this series against the Pirates or even this weekend against the Yankees. I may change my mind.